So welcome. This is the new TWiT Brick House, and I'm Leo Laporte, the guy that built it. I always start the tours here if I can because this is what the old cottage used to be. We were down the street if you've ever watched any of our shows, and really they all started in this just a little tiny cottage, first in the garret room, and then we slowly migrated throughout the whole cottage. And we were doing all of our shows in a single room. It's a beautiful room, wood paneled. We had a big desk, and it really all started because we were doing podcasts, and we started letting people watch us do the podcast with a webcam, and then we got more cameras, and we got a switcher, and we got fancier and fancier. Pretty soon, we realized we were doing a TV channel of tech stuff that you could then later watch. We kind of flipped the whole idea on its head. Originally, you were watching us do audio downloads. Now you're really watching a television channel, and we'll TiVo it for you. You know, you can always get it later. So this, when we did decide to move to a larger studio, we went from, a 1,800 square foot cottage to a 9,400 square foot facility. First thing we did is we said we should really duplicate the cottage. So this room is my office, but also kind of a simulation of the old cottage studio. So this is the actual desk we used, and we have a new backdrop that we built to look like the old backdrop. So if you're a casual viewer just tuning in, it would look kind of, you wouldn't maybe necessarily even notice. The way we do this is inspired by a couple of things. One, by its original start, where it was just a webcam, fixed webcam, and you were watching us do the show. And the other by the fact that I had spent many years in technology television, and most recently at the Tech TV, the cable channel that was on from 98 to 2004, that, I thought did a great job. We worked really hard for 6 years to make it, and kind of disappeared because it wasn't financially viable. So I wanted to do the same kind of programming. I knew there was an audience for it. Whoa, that's all right. No, I don't need any of that stuff. I don't need any of that stuff.
Wires. Can you ever get free of these wires?
Nah, well, it's a lot better than it used to be. Actually, this hardly is bad at all. So with Tech TV, we went out of business, or they got sold because we were serving a niche audience, but we were spending $50 million a year to produce programming for them. So the goal is to continue to super serve that niche audience without the pressures to broaden it that Tech TV experienced. But in order to do that, you have to make it cheap enough so that the advertising revenue will support it. And we've done that. We've been profitable from day one, first from donations from our audience, and then the last 4 years through advertising. First year we made $300,000 a year in advertising, then we made $700,000 a year, then we made $1.4 million. Last year we made $3.75 million. This year we're probably on track to about $4.5 million a year in advertising revenue. And that means that we've been able to expand, build it out, and do a better job, and flip that model on its head and make it be, my goal, a 24-hour live network about technology and super serving that audience. So I think we do CNN quality production here for a fraction of the cost. First show we did was, in fact, in a restaurant, a brew pub called the 21st Amendment in San Francisco, after the 2004 Macworld or 2005 Macworld Expo, and it was a lot of the old Tech TV people, Patrick Norton, Kevin Rose, some other tech, David Prager, and we sat around. We talked about for 20 minutes. It wasn't very long.
I listened to it.
It was our first show.
Yeah,
you were there.
I was there.
Well, you were there at the beginning.
At the beginning, online.
And it was great. And we got about 30,000 downloads. And I thought, wow. There might be something here. So the problem was these guys were distributed all over California. We couldn't get together to do a show. So it took us about 4 months before I figured out, well, I can use Skype and we can make a show. And in April 2005, we launched TWiT. And here we are, fast forward, 7.5 years later. It's become, I would say, it's become a network. But the ways we make this network work financially is we don't have camera operators. We have fixed cameras. All of these cameras are locked down. Notice, too, they're not very big, expensive broadcast cameras. They're, in fact, consumer-grade camcorders. It's a Canon Vixia HF10, which, by the way, gives you a better quality picture, especially if you have enough light, than the broadcast cameras of Tech TV's time. So we're giving you a much better picture even than Tech TV for a fraction of the cost. Those cost about $1,500. One of the things we've done is we've got a lot of them. We've got 30 of them all over the studio. And so the way it works is we will switch the cameras that we use depending on what's going on. So right now you can see a news show is starting up over here. That's Tom Merritt and Sarah Lane, who I worked with at Tech TV, Ayaz Akhtar, who used to be at PC Magazine. They're going to do our daily news show, TNT, Tech News Today. And so the cameras that are on them are the ones that are active right now, not the cameras in here. Also, the lights are on and everything. So let's go out and I'll show you. What we did is that show used to be done in this, cottage. Everything used to be done in the cottage. And then we spread it out so that we could do more shows, have the shows look better. So this is the newsroom set right here, and they're doing that show there. But we also have what we call a living room set over here. So we do a few shows here, the iPad Today show, the social hour, and so forth. We also have round table shows. We have an actual round table. Well, it's more oval, but that's over there. So these are each of them separate sets. But the control room is here right in the middle of the room, which is kind of unusual for a broadcast operation. And that's because we flipped the model on its head. Instead of having a couple of people in front of the camera and 20 people behind the camera, we have 3 people in front of the camera. The content people, that's where we spend the money. Behind the camera, one guy does the job of 20. He's the director, technical director, audio guy, tape guy. He does the lower thirds. He does the Skype calls. He does the video switching. It's all done from here. This console, this turret rotates, and I'll show you. We'll go downstairs. It's actually a hole in the floor beneath it that goes down to all the gear, which is in the basement. So Jason is both technical director of the show, but also a producer of the show, and he edits it. So this one guy can take all the content of a daily news show, produce it, shoot it, and edit it all by himself. He's switching cameras. He's doing the whole thing. And I think it looks pretty good. We're also using Skype. You can hear this voice. This guy is in England. He's not here. So he's one of the contributors to the show, but he's not local. We use Skype a lot to bring people in from other places. So the other model here is that it's what we call an open studio. I always loved open studios where the people who work on the shows, the support personnel, the finance, the sales, everything is all here in the studio. So you're seeing a real, authentic, live place, even to the point where we actually have windows on the street, and you can see people go by, you can see cars go by, you can see leaves, and I like that because a lot of what we're doing is trying to dash that synthetic feeling of broadcast television where it's not authentic, it's not real, it's a performance. We want this to be, real. When you watch our shows, when the show's over, we don't turn off the cameras, we don't go to commercial. We keep going and we move the cameras over and you go with us. We talk in between shows. Often the pre and post shows are the most interesting part of all of our productions. And the whole point is to be real, to be genuine, not to hide the personnel, but to be a real building in a real town with real people. I just feel like that's the future of broadcasting, not this canned synthetic stuff with the blow-dried hair and all of that. So once you cross this threshold here, though, you're out of the studio and there's other stuff going on. We have people sign the wall. When we have big-name celebrities come in here, they sign the wall. Here's our kitchen back here. And it's a pretty nice facility. But the thing that really makes it for me is where we're going to take you right now, which is the basement. When we leased this building, we thought, boy, 9,400 square feet upstairs, 6,500 square feet downstairs. We thought we could barely afford this. Here's an edit suite here. We have room for 9 editors. We only have 5 right now, but so there's some room to grow. The good news was we don't pay rent in the basement because when the owner of the building put in the sprinkler systems, he installed them so low that they're not up to code. We can't put people downstairs, but it's perfect for us. It's almost like a 6-foot-high raised floor. This is our lobby, by the way, and our brick. We call this the TWiT Brick House because it's a brick facade building. It's actually a wood frame building, but the bricks are in front. And in order to build this studio, the costs got quite high. We had planned to spend about $350,000. By the time we were done, it was $1.2 million. So we had a brick drive, a fundraising drive among all of our viewers. We raised $250,000. They bought engraved bricks, and we're putting them up now in the lobby. So everybody who brought a brick, you can come and you can visit your brick. And it's actually really fun to see these. And to me, it's a tangible measure of the support that we've received from our audience. I mean, everything that we do here really is to serve this community, but is also because of this community. For TWiT this week in Google, Gina, Jeff, and I will talk about Well, it is Steve Jobs' biography, but there's a lot to say about Google in here. Jobs didn't really like Android. The details coming up next with This Week in Google.